super late tonight, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I would like to introduce to you my beautiful sister, Jana Hooten, and then she's going to introduce me. She just doesn't know she's going to do that yet. My sister, she's my upline in Plexus. She's my older sister. Anyway, not too much older, but a whole lot wiser. So Jana Hooten, she is one half of the Slim Sisters team. I can't hear you.
Sorry, guys. I was sending a link to some people. Okay, so we got a lot more people hopping on. All right, so I'm so excited about this call. And I think this is going to be fantastic. Sorry, guys. Okay, trying to do two things at once, and I'm not multitasking very well. Okay, so I'm so excited about this call. I cannot wait for you guys to meet our special guest tonight. She is fabulous. I got to know her. Well, I think I met her for the first time last year at convention, and then got to spend a little time with her in Hawaii. And she is the real deal, and she is awesome, and you guys are absolutely going to love her. So, Amber, my lovely sister Amber, who I'm supposed to introduce, who is amazing. Did you have something else you wanted to say before we got started?
No. Sure didn't.
All right. Well, then
on our calls. Oh, well, yeah. For those of you that maybe this is your first time joining us, welcome to your first Zoom call. We're going to keep everybody muted. It helps cut down on background noise. So just keep that in mind, and just remember that you can see us and we can also see you. So if at any point you need to make it where we can't see you, down in the bottom left corner there's a little icon that looks like a video camera. It says stop video. Just push that and we won't be able to see your screen any longer. We love to see your pretty faces, and we'd rather talk to your faces than just the black screen. So if you can turn those on, it would be awesome. But just remember, if at any point you need to turn that off, there is that feature. And let's also kind of keep the chat just a little bit quiet until we have time for questions.
Amber, do you want to go ahead and open us in prayer, and then I will officially introduce our special guest and let her share her story, and then we'll do a little Q&A with her.
Absolutely. Let's pray. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this time once again to come together with our team. Lord, I just thank you for each and every person making the effort to be on this call. Lord, I know this is a super busy time of the year for people. Lord, I just pray that you will just bless their efforts. Lord, just rain down your richest blessings upon them, upon their families, upon their businesses. Lord, we know we have people on our team right now going through struggles and heartache and hurt. And Lord, we just pray your comfort for them. We love you so very much. Thank you for Kristy, for her awesome testimony. And I just pray that you will just bless her as she speaks to us tonight. In your name, amen.
All right, guys. So our special guest tonight, as you guys know, is Kristy Hull. And I mentioned how I met her, but I first got to know Kristy through Facebook and followed her story. She has an amazing journey. I don't know exactly what she's going to share. I'm sure she's going to share her Plexus journey, but I hope she shares a little bit about some things that her and her husband have been through, because they have an amazing, amazing story. So, y'all, I'm just so excited to introduce you to Kristy, and I know a lot more people are jumping on. So, but Kristy, go ahead and share with us.
Okay. Hey, guys. First off, thanks, Amber and Jana, for having me. I love following y'all, and I think it's so cool that you're sisters and you're both diamonds. So that just proves that anybody can do this. I mean, y'all probably, like, I'm a triplet. And before I get started my story, like, they weren't very supportive of me when I first signed up. And one of them actually told me, you're not going to do anything with this. Like, everybody else is already doing it. And so they're on my team now, but we have so many of the same connections that they waited so long to jump on. And every time somebody that they knew better than me would come to me and say, hey, I want to join your team, I'd say, okay, let me ask Carrie or let me ask Kelly. I'm like, okay, so-and-so wants to join. Are you sure you don't want to sign up? They're like, no. And so now they're like, probably at least once a week, they're like, I could totally kick myself myself in the butt for not signing up and just doing this with you. So, anyways, side story, but I do love following y'all, and I just think y'all are so cool. So, like Jana and Amber said, I am Kristy Hull. I am from a super small town in Arkansas. We have 282 people in our population, so very small. And so I also always throw that out there to tell people that it doesn't matter where you're from, where you live, what your circumstances are as far as your network or your influence. There is a way to do this, okay? I got started in Plexus in November of 2013. And my sponsor is Rebecca Foltz. And she had actually approached me via a cold message in July of that year. And she just said that she had found something and she knew that I would be great at it and yada, yada, yada. Did I want to do it? And I can't tell people no. So I just told her, oh, just send it over. I'll look at it. But never had any intentions of looking at it. And once a month, she's a great follow-upper, and so very consistent. And so once a month, she would follow up with me, say, hey, want to check and see what you thought about that stuff. Have you looked at it yet? And I would always have to say, oh, I've been super busy, which I had been super busy. But I was like, it's a bad timing, or I'm super busy, or I just haven't looked at it yet. And so I kind of had two hold-ups. One of them was I had done network marketing about 12 years ago for a very brief time, for about 6 months, and realized that I hated doing parties. I hated having to handle people's money. I hated having to deliver products. And that I would, and I was like kicking butt at it, but not making any money. And so I thought, never again in my life. So that was my first holdup. The second holdup was I didn't know anybody personally taking the products or having success with the business. And so I kind of thought, I'm not going to do this again if I don't have like a personal connection to it. So fast forward to about October, I started seeing people from my small like town, and then like towns right beside me, people that I had known for years, you guys, that I knew had never been in a gym, you know, weren't health nuts and whatever. And they were having amazing results with these products. And then Heidi Spear, she's from next door to me. We were from the same county. And she was, I think, almost Emerald at this time. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should look at this. So one day sitting at my desk on a lunch break, I thought, Kristy, $34.95. If you're going to do this, like, you should jump in and do it. So I remember texting Rebecca and I said, okay, what's your website? I think I'm going to do this. And she wrote back, she's like, you're signing up today? I'm like, yeah, right now. And so I signed up November 11th of 2013. And I did post right away, but the holidays were coming up, and then I had a couple of deaths in my family. So I kind of felt weird, like pressing something around that. So I really didn't take off with cold messaging and reaching out until January of 2014. And so I will say I had very small goals. My goals were that if I could be making $500 a month by the end of my first full year, that I would just feel like I had hit the jackpot with this. Okay. That's how small my goals were, and like how my mindset, because I just thought I knew all about network marketing and that this was going to be the same. And so very quickly I realized that I better make some bigger goals and that this was something different. And so my goal was, okay, I need a new car. So by the end of my first year, I want to get my car. And that happened. So on my 1 year anniversary month, so November of 14, sorry, y'all. I hit Emerald. And mind you, all this happened while I am working a full-time job. And I live about an hour from the city. So I was commuting 1 hour to and from work every day. So where did I work my Plexus business? On my drive, I would listen to calls. I would get on the phone and talk to people. I would listen to audio recordings. Whatever was out there, I was just feeding my brain. On my lunch break, instead of going to Target and browsing and spending money that I didn't need to be spending anyways, that's when I would get on my team page. That's when I would post on Facebook. That's when I would reach out to my customers or follow up with ambassadors or whatever it may be. And then on the way home, exact same thing. And then I would work it a little bit at night, depending on what I was doing. And so I definitely fit it in the nooks and crannies of my day, but I did it consistently, and I did it intentionally, okay? Not just kind of you get caught up on scrolling on Facebook super easy. So that was November of 2014. Couple months later, so January of 2015, on the 28th, I hit Sapphire. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because I just figured I'd hit Emerald and then go about 6 months and maybe hit Sapphire. But my team was really picking up. And I'll tell you, up until this point, I had told Rebecca, my sponsor, over and over, I want a passion why. I want a big why, because I had a good job that I had been at for 10 years, and I owned part of the company. Me and my husband owned Sonic drive-ins. So really for us, Plexus was extra money, like retirement money, like pay off our house money. Thankfully, like, we didn't have any student loan debt, and we've never had credit cards, so we didn't have any of that, like, backstory. And so that was awesome to have, you know, all this future money, but I just always wanted a passion why. And so about 3 days later, I would get my passion why and not even know that it was coming. So went Sapphire on the 28th, and then my husband had a very bad car accident on February 1st of last year. And 100% God had his hand over him, and he is a true miracle. We are still fighting an open wound that he's been fighting for almost a year and a half now. But we ended up being in the hospital for 47 days. And because of Plexus, I was able to stay with him the whole time. And I didn't fully quit my job in the hospital. I tried a couple times, and they would always just tell me, you know, you just need to wait. Don't make any decisions right now. But very quickly in the hospital, I realized my life had changed. We had a new normal, and I was not going to be able to deal with the stress of, like, what was going on in our life and the stress of my job, because I did have a very high stressful job. And more than that, it was a boss that I knew I was, like, had animosity towards him and just was over him. But until you're out of the situation, and then maybe you're looking out from the outside in, you don't realize, like, what all was going on in your life that you didn't realize. And so because of Plexus, I was able to quit my job. We came home in the end of March. I went back to work for 2 days in April, and my anxiety came back. I cried the whole way home, and it brought to me that every Sunday night before work, way before Kyle's accident, every Sunday night I would just get so anxious, and I would cry every Sunday night, because I knew that I was going to have to go deal with this for a full week. And you know, I think Rebecca texted me around day 38 in the hospital, and she's like, I think you got your why. And I was like, I know, right? Thanks a lot, Kyle. And so I tell people that God, I have no doubt in my mind that God put Plexus in our life in 2013 because he knew that we would need it in 2015. Could we have survived without my income and me the faith and know that everything was going to be okay? And so Plexus has just been a total blessing, a total godsend. I think Les Brown at convention last year, he said, all just one accident or one life situation away from bankruptcy. And I think Rebecca was sitting beside me, nudged me, and I'm like, it's so true. Like, so thankful that Plexus was in our life. I mean, anyways, just the medical bills, and then just the life change, and just having to deal with that. And so that's just kind of an inspiration to you guys, that even if you're doing this right now and you don't know why you're doing it, like your full why, like your big why, know that there is a reason that, you know, you finally said yes and you're finally doing it. And work your business, grow your business, and that full why is eventually going to present itself to you. Hopefully it won't be, you know, because your husband has a wreck or anything like that, but that big why will come to you. So anyways, I quit my job April 21st of last year. Oh, sorry, y'all. And 7 days later, I hit diamond. And so I've been a diamond for, I guess, about 13 months. And so I hit diamond at 17 months with the company. And I mean, it's crazy to look back and think that my original goal was $500 by the end of my first year. So that is a prime example of what this opportunity is, how huge it is, how it's way bigger than any of us ever imagined getting into it, and probably way bigger than any of us that are even in it right now even still know. And so that's my journey and that's my story, and I hope that it's inspired some of you guys.
Thank you, Kristy, so much. I loved hearing that, and just knowing how long before you guys knew what was going to happen, God knew what was going to happen, and he was taking care of you when you didn't even realize he was taking care of you. Like, he was preparing y'all for all of that craziness. And I love following y'all on Facebook and Kyle's progress. I remember when all that was going on and just thinking, oh my word, and hearing 47 days in the hospital. I can't even imagine. Just in a hospital for 47 days would drive me crazy, let alone your husband being so ill, and just following your progress. I still remember when all that was going on, and we were all praying for you guys so much. Okay, so we have some questions for you that our team submitted. Okay. We have several, so if we start running out of time, we'll just kind of pick and choose here. So the first one, if you can kind of walk us through your procedure on training new ambassadors, a brand new level 1. Okay. I mean, you'll probably have to briefly summarize, but you know.
Yes. So the first thing I do is, as soon as they sign up and I get the notice, I write them and I'm like, hey, got the notice, you signed up. I'm so excited you're a part of the team now. Here's a few things that are going to be happening right away. Number one, I'm going to be adding you to a couple team pages, and I tell them what team pages they are and kind of how they can use them. That way they're aware of it, because if people don't know they're going to get thrown into these team pages, it's a little overwhelming sometimes. And so I let them know about that. And then I say, I'm also going to be sending you several welcome emails. Go through those at your leisure. Get with me on some questions, or if you have any questions. And then as soon as your success kit comes in, let's get on a 3-way call. And so the emails that I send to them, I send one that's like a welcome email, kind of gives them the first 10 steps, gives them some product information calls, some business information calls, and just kind of tells who their uplines are and like the team pages I've added them to, just so they have it in a bigger format. So it's got an initial welcome email with a couple attachments. Then there is an email that I send them that is for them to send to customers and ambassadors when they order, or when they sign up or order. That way they know how to take the products, because that's kind of the biggest thing is you have to let people know how to take these products right away. Okay, you just don't need to so glad you're deciding to get healthy with Plexus and yada, yada, yada. And it lists every product and how to take it. And so I just tell at the top, you know, you're going to change this email each time based on what the people order. And you're going to get that in the email. That way they don't have to, it's just basically copy and paste. They never have to think about it. They don't have to make up their own way to take their products and so on. And then the third email is email where I break down the business. Okay. And so it talks about the 11 different ways you get paid. And then I have my personal testimony on there, and my personal journey month by month. And so do I blast that all over Facebook? No, but I definitely, if I have people that are asking about the business, because my mindset was so small and I didn't realize the opportunities, I realized a lot of other people don't either. And so I don't mind sending an email like my month by month journey so they can see that progress. And so I tell them to use that email and always put it at the top. Hey, at the bottom, you're going to see my sponsors month by month journey with Plexus. I'm just getting started, but I wanted you to be able to see the opportunity, something like that. That way they also have in their hands something that's ready to go to send people that are interested in the business. So those 3 emails right away. And then I get them on the 3-way call. And so what we do on the 3-way call is, first and foremost, I want to know their why. And at that point, they're not even probably going to know why they're doing it. But the more questions you ask, they're kind of going to talk their way through it and figure it out. And then their goals. For one, that way, if they start getting discouraged and maybe they're wanting to quit, I can always reference that back and say, do you remember that you said you were wanting to be able to stay home with your kids more? Or maybe you're wanting to be able to help your husband not have to work those extra hours so he could be at home with y'all. If you quit, that's not going to happen. So it lets me know how to work with them, how to push them, and because everybody's different. And we have to remember that not everybody's going to sign up for the same reason. And so somebody that only wants to get their products, covered a little bit and then maybe a little extra, you're not going to be able to push them the same as somebody that's like me that wants to go all in and is in it for the business. So know their goals and know their whys. And that way they kind of have something to start with and focus on. We go over the products very quickly, the comp plan, and always talk about getting them to silver that very first month, okay? I feel like the quicker you can get a check in people's hands, the more likely they are to stay and the more likely they are to kind of get it right away, okay? And then definitely hit on making your list and cold messaging. And then posting, because I'm a huge Facebook poster. I talk about it all the time with my team, and I feel like if you're not being consistent with your posts, personal and Plexus, then you're really doing yourself a disservice. And then as far as like the rest of my team goes, I know I'm just going to add this on. On my team page, I do daily videos or daily like posts that talk about different training methods, maybe different IPAs, different challenges. I share other people's stuff. That way they're not hearing it all just from me. I do 3-way calls with all of my team, and then Zoom calls with individual teams. I don't have a personal team call that I do because I'm on so many other ones for my individual teams, but I'm doing several of those a week as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that helps everybody get an idea for how she does it for sure. So, okay, next question. How do you approach a complete stranger about Plexus? I always love to hear these because it's always interesting.
Okay, so here's a secret. And if you look at my Facebook page, you would never guess this, but I'm a huge introvert, like in an outward setting. And when I actually did my test for the dual training, it said I was an extrovert. And I'm like, oh, that must be my Facebook personality, because that is not my public personality. So I'm not super good at this. Timmy Yancey, that's under me, is like a rock star at it because she is like all up in your face to everybody. So I feel like the best thing is to a stranger, being bold and being brave and knowing that if they tell you no, not interested, that it's not going to be personal or not to take it offensive. But if you don't ask, you're never going to know. And so when I read this question earlier, I was thinking back years ago. I remember my sister were checking out at Target. And this girl came up to them, and I don't know if any of you guys ever did those like jean parties where people like bring a bunch of jeans to your house. And she came up to them in the Target line and gave her business card, and she said, y'all just look, y'all are really, really cute, and I think you'd be really good with this business. I'd love for you to join my team. And so it got me to thinking today when I saw this question, I'm like, we should all just be so bold. And, you never know who's looking for an opportunity out there. And so I've not perfected this, and it's very outside of my comfort zone, but I'm trying to get a little braver. And so that would be my key, is just to be bold and not take a no personally. And if you don't ask, you're never going to know.
I love that, because so many people think that every diamond has got this mastered, and Amber's a lot better at it than I am. I still get all nervous and all weird feeling, sometimes. And so, but we do need to be, it gets easier the more you do it. But we actually had Timmy on a call, and she was talking about how, the Frank's method, and she was talking about how she likes to add on another S for strangers. So I love doing these calls so that people can just see that everybody does this a little differently, and what works for Timmy may not work for you. So I love your answer. It's perfect.
Thanks.
Well, and I think it's also important to remember, like we talk about, this business is so relational. So if you can't, walk up to a complete stranger and start talking about Plexus, don't fret that. Work, the relationships, the friendships that you have, and go from there. Okay, next question. What do you do to motivate your team to build their teams?
Okay, so I feel like it's going to be different for every person. You have to figure out, everybody, something different makes us tick, okay? And definitely it's going to depend on like the 4 different color personalities. So you have to figure out what's going to make your person tick, okay? Figure out what's going to motivate each of them. And Sarah Marble, I don't know if it was this week or last week, but she did a Facebook Live, and so it's saved on her page. You could go back and look it up. But somebody had asked this question, or maybe she just decided to do a video, and she was talking about motivating your people, and she brought it back to finding out their why. And if you can make them figure out their why and really hone back in on that, that's going to be what motivates them, okay? Jenny Kent, one of my girls, she was talking about this the other day, and she said she did that to a newbie at lunch, and this just on Sunday. She said she didn't really know what her why was, and she said, I was trying to figure out how to motivate her, and she's like, so I started just kind of asking her, and she started telling about it. She said the more she talked about her why, like she had kind of started out like at the beginning of the lunch, like she was interested, but she really wasn't going to work it all the way. And then she said the more she talked about her why, the more that girl got her own self pumped up and excited and motivated. And when she left there, she's just ready to blow it out of the water now. So I feel like really bringing it back to your why. And then as far as you as the leader, always am looking for stories from Diamond or Jules, or even if it's like somebody that's not them, but that has been in it for a while and maybe they're stuck, but a relatable story to that person, whether it be like they're in the same industry, like they were both teachers or they're both nurses, or maybe, one of them has a bunch of kids, or maybe one of them is taking a longer journey, whatever it may be. Always try and find a relatable story and send it to them kind of if they're like in a little lull, or even if they're not, and say, hey, just saw this and thought of you, and I wanted to send it your way to let you know that if they can do it, you can do it, okay? So I feel like relating people back, because a lot of times people feel like it's not doable, especially if they get to a certain point and they're stuck. But it is doable for each and every person. And so just reminding them of that. And then kind of, like I said, figuring out what makes each person tick is going to be key.
Yeah. I think a lot of times people skip over that whole finding your why, and it seems like it's silly in the beginning, and it's not. It's so important. So important. If you can find your why, then that will drive you. Okay, next question. What's been the hardest for you through your journey?
100%, without a shadow of a doubt. The haters, the unsupported people, unsupported friends, getting talked about. Like I said, I'm from a super small town, and so everybody knows you. And when I first started, people were blasting me on Facebook. I mean, even this is my 30th month, and I still get blasted on Facebook sometimes. And it really hurt my feelings at first, and it made me angry, but it also kind of like made me be like, I'm going to prove these people wrong. And so instead of unfriending them, I was like, I'm going to keep them on there so they can see me driving my Lexus. But I definitely think that you have to get a thick skin, and you just have to decide that people are really going to talk about you and make fun of you, whether you're doing Plexus or you're doing something else. Like, they're probably, if you don't do Plexus and you're posting about your kids all the time or your cat all the time or whatever, they're probably talking about you for that, And so I really just had to come to the conclusion to get over it, because people are kind of just sad in their own area. And the other thing is, this is not being, well, people are jealous of me, but as a whole, people are jealous people. And more than likely, they are jealous because they don't have the courage to make a change in their life, and they need that change, okay? They would rather wallow in where they are and just sit there and be mad for you than make a change. Because let's admit, like, change is harder than just staying where you are, okay? And that takes a lot of courage. And so a lot of times they're mad because they haven't taken that opportunity. And so I just kind of had to put that at the forefront of my brains. And even like, I think last month I got really upset because people were posting stuff, and I cried for like 3 days about it. And I was finally like, Kristy, you're letting those people get to you again. Like, why? And so I just had to push it out. But just know that you're going to have that. I think every person in Plexus has had that. But a lot of times those people will come around too. So That's definitely been the hardest part.
I
Get a thick skin.
I had some of that just yesterday, and if anyone's here, any of my college buddies are on here. It was someone we all went to college with, and we were all texting each other about it, and it's true, exactly like you say. A lot of times it just all goes back to jealousy, and you're doing something that for whatever reason they want to be doing, but they have too many excuses in their head to actually be doing it. So I also love your accent. You say it better than I say it. I texted Jana. I'm like, when she says why, it's 2 syllables. I love it. Okay, next question. So this one says, a friend says, okay, tell me about Plexus. Where do you start?
Okay, so I always say, first and foremost, you should know that we're a health and wellness company. We're not a get skinny quick fad, and we're not a weight loss company. So know that up front. I feel like that we're a supplementation company that triggers on getting people's bodies back to where they should be, and how they were designed to function. And so after that, I usually just say, what are you looking for? Like, obviously you're interested because you're asking me, so what are you looking for? And then they'll usually answer. And then about the business part, I always just say, it's an MLM, it's a multi-level marketing company like none other. I'm sure you've heard of many others. You've probably been a part of 1 or 2 before, but I can promise you that we are different. It's a way to make money, to extra money, or a way to replace or exceed your full-time income. You can do it in the nooks and crannies of your day. And my favorite part is you don't have to have parties. You don't have to have inventory. You don't have to deliver people's products, and that you can make money from day one, which is unheard of in any other business.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes, for
sure. It's just kind of like generic and plain, but that's kind of me.
Nope, that's where you always have to start. When someone says, tell me about Plexus, that's where I always turn it back on them and start asking them questions. Well, tell me what it is that interests you. Like, what is it that you've heard that interests you, and what are your goals? So that's really where you have to start with people, because everybody has different goals. Okay, the next one is, we're going to actually, Kristy, we're going to skip number 6, and we're going to move on to number 7. What would you say is your number one way you build your business, both currently right now and when you started out? And it might be 2 different things that you did when you started versus now, or it might be the same. But what would you say your number one tip would be?
100%. It's Facebook. That's how I would say I built 95% of my business. And I was a big Facebook poster way before Plexus, which is why Rebecca reached out to me. You just use that to build my business. And so ways to I kind of do that now, because I feel like a couple months ago, I kind of felt like, okay, you've been doing this for forever. You've probably saturated your friends list, which I haven't, but that's just kind of how I felt. So I started adding random friends. Okay. Which sounds a little crazy, but I got 2 ambassadors the first month that I did. So where did I find these random friends? So on Facebook, on your newsfeed, there'll be a sponsored ad, and there might be one for. Well, the one I saw was for my social media book. Do y'all remember seeing it? It's like a Facebook annual or whatever. And I was actually looking on there because I was like, is this legit or is this a scam? Because I was thinking about getting one printed off for Kyle for his journey from last year. And I'm scrolling through here looking at people's comments to figure out if it's legit or not, and it hit me. I'm like, there are literally thousands of people commenting on here. Like, why would I not go through some of these people and just send them a friend request? And so I did. And I had one girl, when I did this, write me instantly, and she said, hey, I just got a friend request from you, and we don't have any friends. Is there a reason you're a friend of me? And I looked at Kyle, and I'm like, what did I say? What did I say? And I was like, he was like, just calm down. And so I just wrote her, and I said, hey, I'm always looking to expand my network, and you looked like someone that we had similar interests, because she had a big family, and I think her husband was in chiropractic, and my brother's in chiropractic school, and I just kind of And I said, but totally understand if you don't want to friend me, I'll understand. And she was like, oh, okay, no problem. So she friended me, and like 3 days later was wanting a sample and joined my team like later that month. So those are great places, the sponsored ads, to look for people. And the people that I looked for, like I would click on their picture, and if it looked like they were active, like an active Facebooker, if they had a lot of friends, and maybe like were just active in general, like went out, not like partying, but, went out, maybe they were into health and wellness or whatever. So you never know. If they don't accept your friend request, it's totally fine. Another thing I do is I'm consistently posting, and Rebecca likes to make fun of me a lot for this, but my like keyword that I drive home all the time to people is consistency. But I'm a very consistent person, like outside of Plexus. So I just feel like overall consistency in life is good. And so I feel like we're consistent with this business, even through the lulls, even when something isn't happening, that it's going to pay out. So I feel like posting on Facebook, even when you're not getting likes, you're not getting comments, people aren't messaging you, you need to know that with every post you make, you're planting a seed, okay? And sometimes those seeds take a little longer to grow, but then others like grow right away. And I mean, I signed up 3 people last month, and one of them said, hey, I've been watching you for 29 months, and I'm finally convinced that I want to do this. And so you never know. So always posting, engaging my audience. If you go and look at my Facebook page, I'm always asking goofy questions or posting puzzles for people to figure out. And then I'm a big commenter and liker. Okay. The other thing that I would have never thought about doing, and a girl, when she signed up on my team 2 years ago, she said she told her team to go through the alphabet, like on your friends list. So you go to your friends list, you start with the A, and you could do 5 letters a night or whatever. And so you go through almost the whole alphabet in 5 days, or you would. So you're going to go through A's, and you're going to scroll. And anybody that you've not seen pop up on your news feed in a long time, go to their page and like or comment on their stuff and kind of start engaging with them. Because if you're not seeing them on your news feed, then they're not seeing your stuff. And so that's a way to kind of always keep your news feed fresh. So that way more people are seeing your things. And then another thing that is really great, Jarrett and Kristen Abart have really built their business like this, is becoming a part of a group. Okay. So I have one girl on my team, and she's a big Packers fan. I think I'm not like football or whatever, so I don't know, but I think it's Packers. And so she had joined like their group, and you don't get in those groups and like blast Facebook, but you just kind of get in those groups and you build rapport with people and you engage in those groups, and then you start getting friends from those groups. Well, they're going to see your Plexus stuff, if you're friending them. So if you're a teacher, I mean, you just type in whatever type of group you could think of. If you like to ride motorcycles, like motorcycle groups, thousands of groups are going to pop up that you could join and start building rapport in those groups. Eva Schmidt from Canada, that's how she's built almost her entire business, is from those groups. So those are really key as well. So 100% I would say Facebook, and that's what I still do now. I'm just a big poster, and I'm very big at following up with people, even people that, wrote me a year ago, and I've continued to follow up with them, but they've never joined or posted. I'll still hit them up about one or 2 months just to kind of check in with them.
Wow, that was a lot of good tips. I'm like,
sorry.
No, I'm writing all this down, and I'm really glad we're recording this, because those were great tips. Because I've heard people say expand your network, go to the people you may know list and do that. If I do that now, it's all Plexus people. So I'm like, I need some non-Plexus people in here. So I love hearing all that. Okay, next question. What are your favorite books for self-growth? I think I see a book behind you that I have sitting right here. I see that one on your shelf back there. 21 Laws.
Yes. Okay, so I have to admit that I did not start reading books until I was probably a diamond. I know that's horrible. And that's the one, like, there's an answer to another question here in a minute. I'm going to talk about that. But it was just not talked about in our team. Like, Rebecca didn't do it, and Elizabeth didn't really do it. And so it wasn't talked about. But I have really started delving into books this last year. And so I love Switch Your Brain. What to say when you talk to yourself is really big. The 4 color personalities, because that is huge. If you know how to kind of like have relationships and work and kind of have pointers to hit on all 4 types of people, because you kind of have to be very, like, I guess, beneficial on Facebook, you kind of need to be making posts geared toward all 4 of those color personalities, okay? Because you never, like, what gets a red is definitely not going to get a yellow. The 5 levels of leadership has been huge for me. I read that one after the Jules training. And I like John Maxwell, so Developing the Leader Within You, I really like that one. And then Choose to Be a Champion by Leslie Zan was really good. And I'm currently reading Millionaire by Halftime, which I don't even know if that's really a self-growth book, but it's definitely a network marketing book.
Perfect. I love that one. Yeah, I honestly, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, I started really trying to get into more self-help books and network marketing books a while ago, but in the very beginning I didn't. And it's something I wish I would have. I think it would have helped me grow even faster and helped me be a better leader from the get-go. So It's something I definitely encourage everyone to start. Oh, this is such a good question. Okay. If you could go back and tell yourself one change to make when you were silver or gold, what would you tell yourself?
Okay, so I wrote down 2 things. The first thing is, and it kind of goes back to the last question, start reading books early, okay? Because like Jana said, it's going to help you be a better leader and know how to work with your people better. And that's probably going to save you from some people quitting when they get discouraged because you don't know how to handle all that. But really importantly is I would tell myself not to take things personal, and especially not to take a no personal, okay? So when Leslie Zan, she came here in December of 2015, and I loved this analogy that she gave. She said, so say you're sitting at a little bar at a little, coffee shop, and the waitress is walking by and she's pouring coffee. If you put your hand over your cup because you don't want any more coffee right now, well, she's not going to take it personal. She just knows you don't want coffee right now. But you might want it when she comes back. And so she said that's how you need to look at people when you contact them about Plexus. That you have to know that everybody is at different stages in their life. We don't know what everybody's going through behind closed doors. And so it might just be the wrong timing for them. And so just because they don't want Plexus right now and put their hand over it doesn't mean that you haven't planted a seed, that they're not going to be watching you, and that they might come back around to it. So I feel like not taking a no personal is huge, and kind of getting over the fear of hearing no. So because I've discovered that, and I really feel like a no is not a forever no, and a lot of times it's just a not right now. And so that would be my number one thing that I would tell myself, because I took so much stuff so personal when I first started and when I was first getting my team started. And that probably slowed me down a little bit, and kind of like, when you would hear a couple of no's, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take a time out and not send any more cold messages for a while until I can get over that. So that's huge, and just kind of not taking things personal.
Yes, thank you so much. The not taking things personal took me a while to learn. I wish I had learned that lesson sooner. Next, do you map out who you are going to reach out to each week or month, or do you just take it day by day?
Okay, so as far as my customers, I worked in corporate for 10 years, and I love a desk calendar, and so I have a desk calendar on my desk, and because I was always used to one, I would write down I'm not a big tech savvy person, so I don't use my Outlook calendar. I didn't use it for my other job, and so I just I like pen and paper. So for my customers, I write down like when they order. I'll write, Landon ordered, blah blah blah, and then I'll write down like his initials and when to check in with him a couple of days later. And so I do that for my customers. For my ambassadors, I kind of keep it. when they first sign up, I've got it on my calendar as well. But after they get started for a while, and I'm very wide, I have a ton of level ones. I have a ton of level one workers. And so I just kind of take it day by day or month by month and see, okay, who's needing my help this month? Like, who do I really need to delve into and like help their team? Obviously, I talk to pretty much every one of my level one leaders that have teams that are really working it almost every day, just with something. And so I'm always in contact with them. I'm always checking in on their team pages, but I don't like plan it out. You know what I mean? I want to be a planner. I really do, but I'm not.
No, I totally get you. It gets a little overwhelming sometimes too. So.
It really does. It does.
Yeah.
And so, my one girl the other day, she said, how do you keep up with all your level ones? She said, I was just listing them off and I forgot somebody. And then I remembered them. And I said, I literally, in my like notebook that I take everywhere, I have them written down, which sounds horrible. But when you get so many, and especially so many workers, it's just, and I have them in categories like my workers, and then my people that are kind of, I call them like dabblers, and then the people that are just wholesale. So I kind of categorize ambassadors into those three categories for my team. And so that way I kind of also know like who to focus on and reach out to.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Okay, this is our last one. What do you do after someone tells you that they're not interested after contacting them from a cold message? Basically, I think they're wanting to know, do you continue to follow up with them even though you've initiated the conversation, or do you leave them alone?
Okay, so I'm not a pushy person at all. And so I'll reply back and say, you know what, that's totally fine. I get that you're not interested right now. Thanks, for reading the message and getting back to me instead of just reading it and not replying. Want to let you know that I'm obviously in this for the long haul. And so you come back around, if you see something you like, if you've got some questions, feel free to message me. Like, I'm always going to be here for you. So I feel like you kind of have to love people where they're at. And that's people that aren't on your team and people that are on your team. Kind of like the ones that aren't ready to work it when you want them to be ready to work it, if that makes sense. And so after that, I always leave the message so that way I can always go back and reference it. And then if maybe I have a special coming up, or like corporate has a special, or, they've got like even if it's just a product special, not a sign up special, I'll usually message and just let them know, hey, I'm kind of contacting anybody and everybody that I've ever reached out to about Plexus because there's this special and I definitely didn't want to let it pass you by, and let me know. So I kind of always keep a running thing, but I'm not going to reach out to them like monthly. No, if they've said they're not interested, just kind of keep a relationship going, because a lot of times they might be interested, but they might be just thinking, she's just messaging me so she can make some money off of me, and thinking that you don't care about anything else. But if you let them know that you are interested in more than just them joining your team and making money off of them, then they might be more apt to do it. Is that, you know what I'm saying? Not feeling just like they're another number in the bucket.
Yeah. And, definitely by commenting on their post and trying to build that relationship with them, then a lot of times they will come around and, let you know they are interested in joining you. So no, I think that's the best answer. Worst thing you can do is hound somebody and push them to sign up. You'll just turn people off. So you don't want to do that for sure.
Hey, Kristy, can I ask you one more question? Well, we might have a couple more come up in the chat, but let's just say you've got a level one who is seemingly doing everything they need to be doing. They're posting on Facebook. They are holding events. They are following up. They're at least telling you they're following up. They're doing everything that you think they need to be doing. And it's just not going the direction it needs to be going. What would you tell them?
Okay, so I have a girl, prime example. she and like 3 of my other leaders, they got together at convention last year. They called each other the Fab Four. They're all sidelines, and they ranked up to senior gold together, and then they were all on track to rank to Ruby together last fall. And then her team just kind of stalled out, and the other ones pulled ahead. And she got so down, and she messaged, and she's like, I just don't know what believe me, this girl's a worker, and when she tells me she's doing it, I know she's doing it. She said, I just don't understand the difference in like mine and so-and-so's team. And I said, let me tell you the one difference. I said, she found one person on her team that wanted to work it like she did. And one person can make a big difference in your team. And I said, you just have to keep reaching out, keep doing what you're doing. And that one person is going to come along. Whether it's somebody that's on your team and they're just not ready to work it yet, or it's a new person that comes along. And so this really started probably last September. And, she was never going to quit or anything like that, but she would just get real discouraged. And then she'd message me later and say, I'm so sorry. I know you're so sick. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of dealing with you. Like, I know the struggles, and my heart hurt for her too, just because she just does everything right, And her husband told her at one point, he said, Carmen, he said, you just maybe need to look at it like this. Like, God knows that maybe you don't have to have the opportunity that fast growth in your business right now, but Jenny does. So, like example, Jenny's husband had lost her job. Well, Carmen and them are like us; they own Sonic. So, he said she needed to go fast for her family, And he said, like, your situation is not the same, and so it kind of made her sit back and say, okay, you know what? I need to be brought back down and realize like what I really wanted with this when I started, and thank God for what He's given me, and then just kind of be happy with that. And the other thing she realized is that she needed to grow as a leader, and she finally told me, she said, you know what? She's like, I finally figured out, she said, I couldn't handle a team right now if I was senior Ruby or Emerald like that. She said, I've got to grow myself. And so, you guys, I've been so happy for her. We met early March. Like, I went down to South Arkansas, met with her, and I really did some coaching with her. And she had lost her senior gold in the back office. She got it back that month. And she should go Ruby this month. And she had her team really had to step up to, like, do that, like, with their momentum. And so early last month, she needed to add 6 people to make sure she would hit Emerald or to hit Ruby this month. And so we had talked several times, like, during the month, and I'd always ask her, which I always knew where she was, but I just like to act like I don't know and ask them to make, and just so I can make sure that they're on focus too, not just me worrying about them ranking up. And I said, you're going to need this many people. She's like, Kristy, how am I going to do that? Like, I'm never going to do that. I'm like, yeah, you will. I said, how about you shoot for half of that number? And at the end of the month, I was able to send her a message. And how many people she needed was exactly the number of people that she added. And she had totally forgot about that conversation with us. And what it was, you guys, is she continued being consistent. She continued doing everything, like Amber said, like everything that you were telling her to do. Her people finally got it. It just clicked. And so when one person on her team got it and started being active and started adding some other people, the other people on her team that had kind of just been sitting there, like, thinking about doing it, it got them excited. And it made them think, well, if Mandy can do it, well, heck, I can do it too. And so she just, like, those people encouraged her people. Does that make sense? So I feel like you just have to keep on doing what you're doing. And that person, whether they're on your team now or they're going to come, like, they're eventually it's going to pay off if you're just consistent and don't give up with what you're doing. Yeah. Because you're doing all the right things. It's just not your timing. And I know everybody hates to hear that, like, everybody's got their own journey and their own timing, but it's so true.
Yeah, and it truly is. It's kind of like, it's like a domino effect. And I try to, we try to express that to people on our team, that if you can just find that one, that it just spreads. When you can find that one on your team that wants it as bad as you do, then that is contagious and it spreads down to your whole team. So that's why we try to tell people, figure out who your runners are. Who are your runners? It's okay if you only have one. that's all right. You can do this with one. You can get the fire going with just one. So I think that is great advice. Sometimes it just does. It takes time to get that one.
Yeah, and I'll send you guys in our group message kind of what I did when I met with all my level 1 leaders in March, and it was kind of like a coaching, but it made them pick out their runners and like different things that I analyzed with them. And so I'll send it to y'all, and y'all probably done something similar. But if you want to pass it on to your leaders, I already like did that. But from the Jewel training, it made me think I need to meet with my my people and make sure that they think of it like that, because a lot of them didn't think of it just as one person, even though I told them that over and over and made them pick out their runners. And what you do is you help your people hit their goals, and in turn you're going to hit yours. So it really changed the mindset of about 3 or 4 of my leaders. And in March, 11 out of 12 of them hit their goals, and in April, 10 out of 12 of them hit their goals. So it was just simple. I mean, I feel like I say this all the time, people, but my stuff is like just simple practices, just repeated over and over, because it's not rocket science. It's just like simple multiplication and duplication. But I'll share that with y'all if you want to pass it on to anybody on your team.
Yes, please. That would be awesome. We would love to see it. We're always looking for new things to pass along to our team. So yeah.
I love that though. And the good news is, if you don't have your runner yet, the good news is they're still out there, just waiting for you to come get them. So like she said, never stop doing what you're doing. Never stop recruiting and getting new level 1s and all that. And I love that you said you keep it really simple, because I think sometimes we almost make this harder than it needs to be. And then it ends up also not being duplicatable to our teams when it gets so, out there a little bit.
Yes.
But anyway, well, Kristy, thank you so much for your time. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
We did record it, so any of y'all that are thinking, man, I wish someone on my team could have jumped on here, we'll get it uploaded probably still tonight, maybe first thing in the morning. So, Jana, do you have anything you want to ask?
Awesome. I think we're good. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Kristy. I know a lot of people, especially this last question, I'm hoping several people will go back and watch that, because I think that really is, could be a big encouragement to several people that I see on here, and then several people that I'm thinking of that I have in mind. So I just so appreciate it. I just think the world of you, and I'm excited to see you here soon in Vegas. It'll be fun.
Yes. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you, Kristy.
Thank y'all.
Amber, do you want to close us out, and then we'll hop off?
Sure. Gina Ortega, would you mind closing us out in prayer real quick? Did she hear me? Did you hear me, Gina? Okay, I'll pray over us real quick. Or Gina, you go ahead. I opened us. You go ahead, Gina.
All right. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this night. We thank you for Kristy just giving up her time and just sharing her heart with us. We thank you so much for her story, and for just the story of her and Kyle, and what an encouragement it has actually been to so many people. We thank you that you brought Plexus into their life long before they even realized that they needed it. And we just thank you, Lord, for who you are. We thank you for this gift that you've given us. We thank you just for what you're going to do in our lives as a result of this business. And I pray that you will have your hand on each and every one of these people who are on this call tonight. I pray, Lord, that you will bless their efforts, that you will guide their steps, and, Lord, that you will watch over them and protect them. We love you, and we thank you for who you are. In Jesus' name, amen.
Kristy, I have one last question.
Okay.
What was it like going from Sonic to health and wellness?
Well, so I actually worked construction. I didn't work in the field, but I worked for a construction company.
Gotcha.
So people find it funny, like I've never been in any of our Sonics. And if I go to Sonic, I pay, like even one of ours, I pay for my stuff, because I feel weird, like, hey, hey, Kristy, I need my free stuff. So I've had a lot of people write me because they've got like cupcake shops or whatever. And they're like, how do people say you can't promote both? And I'm like, you can, because like my big thing like used to be I would drink literally 7 to 8 large Cokes a day. And now I drink lemon water. And so I still share about Sonic because I also feel like you can always have your cheat days, and you got to have balance. So you can definitely do both, but it's definitely been a change going from construction to Plexus, because where construction, I was the only female in my office out of a company of like 70 people for like 10 years. And now, the women are the majority here and the men are the minority. So that's been a big difference.
I bet that is a big change. A little bit more drama maybe with the Plexus sides.
Definitely. That was the one thing I loved about construction is I've never had any drama. It's just a bunch of older men. And I just ran it. So.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. Well, thank you. All right, guys. You guys have a great evening. We will be chatting with everybody tomorrow on the team page. We'll see you there.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Bye, guys.